Hi YouTube, Steve the Floor Plan Man. Today we've got a good one. We're out meeting a local DEA to check out how he does floor plans on site. So without further ado, let's get to it. Hi Scott, how you doing?
You alright? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So you've been a DEA around Bristol for how long?
2013.
Since 2013, so 10 years now.
Yeah. Started.
And how did you get into it?
Started with a green deal. A friend of mine had a company, needed some green deal assessors, so I had a bit of a change of career. I was previously in sales, so I trained as a green deal assessor, got into EPCs. That company eventually went under. And then, went out on my own.
And so you do floor plans and EPCs for estate agents.
Yeah.
So how does that process work?
But basically, they just ring me, email me with a job description, what he's doing. Normally meet the agent on site. And then, I just do my bit. The estate agent goes around and does their bit. I just go off and do what I need to do. Do the floor plan on site at the time.
On a busy day, how many jobs would you do?
4 to 5.
4 to 5,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, well, sometimes more than that. I mean, when it was crazy after COVID, when the market opened up again, it just went mad.
You do this for one particular agent? Or
I've got a few agents.
multiple?
Yeah, multiple agents in and around Bristol, and then a few other companies that are based all over the country. Do sort of different things. I've got one company which do online auctions, so a lot of their properties are probate.
Yeah.
So I have to go out, photograph, do floor plans, do EPCs, sometimes for key safes, that sort of thing for people. But I do a floor plan. I always do my floor plans on site because I just find it saves me time.
So did you start doing your EPCs standalone and then realise, oh, hang on a minute, I can also sell floor plans with this?
Absolutely,
or was it a one-shot deal you realised straight away?
Yeah, well, I thought estate agents, obviously, rather than having 3 people visit, one to do photos, one to do an EPC, and then sometimes the agent would do a floor plan. I just did a one-stop shop, basically. So I just offer one price to do everything for them. So I do all the pictures, floor plans and EPCs. And it literally was, I just started off, I had an interest in photography anyway. I obviously have an EPC qualification from being a green deal assessor. And then I just looked for software in regards to what was the industry norms, if you like, for estate agency. So downloaded PlanUp. That was the most intuitive to me. That was the easiest, it was quickest, especially on an iPad.
And you're definitely faster with it than you would be without.
Oh yeah.
Because I guess because you're not doubling up the work when you have to go home later on in the day to create
all
your
I've ever
own.
known, to be honest. Since I started this line of work, I've always used PlanUp right from the beginning.
And I thought, well, I can actually do that on site. That's no problem, just with my laser rule and how I do it. It's probably different to how other people do it. There are different ways of creating rooms. You can obviously, as you know, you can create a room as a whole if you want and then adjust that. But I normally go wall by wall when I do it. Yeah, and it's good for creating garages as well. You've just done it.
So 5.39 is the width. Then obviously just do the next one. Pretty self-explanatory, really. So the more you do it, the quicker you get, really.
Yeah, I just find it really intuitive and quite quick, really. It takes you a while to get used to it at the beginning, like anything does.
How many floor plans in did you take to feel comfortable drawing on site?
Oh, not many. Well, to be honest, I did it right from the beginning. I just took the time. It would take me longer, but I don't know, 5 to 10 floor plans.
Really? Is that all?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I think so, yeah.
So obviously I'm looking at the front room wall here, finishing, so I'm going to start doing the kitchen from that wall. Measure here.
And then I guess the
Because
speed came.
Speed came, and then you learn how to take measurements when you're on site. Wrong thing to do is if you're doing an upstairs and you've got a downstairs, you should never assume the room upstairs is going to mirror the downstairs. You should always trust the measure, always trust the rule unless it's like within millimeters.
Yeah.
Don't ever draw or drag it to the next wall. Don't do that. Just always measure it and stick to that, because otherwise you'll find yourself, it just don't work.
And do you find that you normally do a walk around of the property before you start the floor plan?
Not normally, no. I don't see there's any point half the time.
You-
Sometimes I will. So I'll do a visual one on the outside sometimes, just so you can see whether any batteries run out on me.
You film that?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not too bad on the phone, but you need to have a bigger handset than an SE, really.
So
You
yes,
can still do it. I've done it when I've forgotten my iPad.
See, that's exactly why
Yeah.
we released that.
Yeah.
If your iPad runs out of battery, or you've forgotten it, whatever it be, we wouldn't suggest, unless you've got like a plus phone.
It's doable.
It'll get you out of a tight
Yeah,
spot.
it will.
Yeah.
Normally you can do most things as long as you're going down the route of doing it wall by wall and not doing it in, assuming the rooms. Do you know what I mean? You don't really get that very often. I mean, some houses you might, which I've not really come across to actually do, but you might have a turret, so a circular room and things like that. So I've not really come across that, but you'd figure it out, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Give you a ring, right?
Shall we follow you around how you go about drawing a floor plan?
Yep.
And maybe when you're up to speed with using RDSat Go and PlanUp via integration, we can maybe do the same again.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's see you draw the floor plan.
Nice one. Right, I'm done downstairs, I think, so upstairs now. So when I come upstairs, I'll just do the same as what I did downstairs, because obviously, normally, the exterior wall will mirror downstairs as it would the top, unless you've got some sort of overhang. So I'll start in the same room to the far left-hand corner, and use that as my basis for the whole of the floor plan.
And on average, how long does it normally take you when you haven't got some guy following you around with a camera to draw your average like 2-3 bed?
Yeah, I mean, I've probably been halfway done now through the top probably. It was a little bit awkward, but yeah, I mean, how long have we been now? 10 minutes?
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
15, 20 minutes at the most,
Wow.
I suppose.
Great.
To be honest with you, if you come along and you draw it, you'll be like, you'll be 15, 20 minutes doing that anyway. And also, you know what it looks like while you're here. When you go away, you might forget something. You might just forget to put a wardrobe in or anything, which normally happens anyway. Customer normally ring me up and tell you that I've forgotten something.
But then you find going in and re-editing easy enough as well.
Yeah, it's fine. With me, because I'm taking a lot of the time I'm doing photography on site as well, I can refer back to my photos. If there was a particular wardrobe somewhere they're mentioning it and I've forgotten it, I'll go, oh yeah, and then I'll have a look and I can amend it just from my pictures.
Do you think you would have been able to have done 4 or 5 a day without PlanUp?
No. It's just easy for me. I'm just so used to it now. And once you've got it into your head that you're going to be doing it, you just allocate the time for that. It might seem like it's taking a little bit longer if people are used to doing it for drawing, but it's not. It's the same with same with EPC work. I used to deal with people on site, then I would go away and I'd sit in Costa and I'd lodge them all. But it's just so time consuming. Now I just try to allocate time for a job and do it on site. You're done then. Do you know what I mean?
Hopefully, if we're able to do this again, when you're using the integration with PlanUp to whoever you're lodging with, to see how much time that's saved you down the line as well. Because I think that's going to save you at least quarter of an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, because I do. Normally I'm sat in the vendor's house, sat at a table, doing the calculations, etc. So I don't have to do it when I get home. So if it's doing all that for me now, look, just from going from the floor plan, that was taking time without a doubt. It's done then, it's forgotten about.
Exactly. You can
it's lodged audit-wise, it's all taken care of. So
exactly, you can step out of the property and not have to consider it again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how's the plan shaping up so far?
Yeah, it's just obviously the bedroom so far. I probably wouldn't put these in the floor plan because they don't look like they're fixed wardrobes. I don't think. So I probably wouldn't put them in, but I'll probably get corrected by the agent.
Well, again, you can always just add them in again afterwards.
Exactly. As you can see, it's pretty accurate. I mean, this is the downstairs. Obviously the light green is the downstairs. So when you type in the measurement of this room, you can see how it's more or less pretty accurate. Look, to exactly the same wall downstairs externally.
Perfect.
You can just draw it. And you find it works that way most of the time.
And that's because you type the measurement in, it's pretty close, and then because it's locked, you can just drag that line along a little bit to line it up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I always, just another tip as well, I always do the rooms downstairs and upstairs before I do the hallways or landings, because you normally find that landings are quite intricate. So you're doing a lot more measurements, whereas if you do all the other rooms, most of the time the landing order downstairs will be assumed. You can go into like the autocomplete. You might have to do a few adjustments, but most of the time you don't have to faff around it so much.
Excellent. And then you can literally use quick draw.
Well, I just finished off
an
the landing now,
autocomplete.
look. So you can follow the landing, and eventually it will come up. Normally, when it's really intricate, it takes a few more measurements to do it before it will auto assume. There you go. Look, so it's saying I can autocomplete now. So I just tap on that and it's done.
There we go. Perfect. Excellent. And that's essentially it.
That's it. Yeah, it's just the garage I need to put in at a later date, but that's underneath the house. So I've got the measurements of that from the agent already because it's locked. So yeah, and then obviously if you want to put, I always put the compass in, you know, north, south, east, west, etc.
Perfect.
Customer wants that.
And so that's done. That's your floor plan done.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, when I get home, I'll tweak it just to make it look a little bit neater, like things like rooms. You know, I'll make sure that it's central, and I'll do global options just to make it look a little bit neater. And then obviously you've got all the other things in you can use. Change the terms of colouring, different colorations. You can put company logos in it, that sort of thing. So.
Do you use the Windows version back at home?
Well, yeah, I go onto my PC when I'm doing logos and things like that. Yeah, I just find it quicker. You can download it from a file normally that's been sent to you. So
Perfect.
yeah. But no, a lot of people like that feature.
And do you have certain styles that you've set up in PlanUp for certain customers as well?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and I've got it listed and who they are, and you just click on that and it's done. Default setting then to how they have it. Yeah, so that's it. So
Excellent.
What was that, 20 minutes?
That was about 20 minutes with me following you around, kind of slowing you down, asking you questions. So that's not too bad. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, and 15, you know, like a normal 2 up, 2 down, 10, 15 minutes. It's like really easy, you know.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to film an outro with Scott as he had to shoot off, but I would like to thank him very much for taking time out of his day for showing us how to create a floor plan on site. The floor plan that you can see on screen here is the floor plan that he created. No post edits. This is purely straight from his iPad of what he'd created there and then. And I think it took just under 18 minutes, and that's including us filming. So without that, it would have been so much quicker, which is really quite impressive. Now, if you like today's video format, please let us know in the comments below. Also, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. It really helps us grow the channel. And as always, we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for tuning in.